Are you searching for blue screen of death causes and solutions? Then you are at the right place, as we know what are the causes and solutions for BSOD errors. Let's get started. This is the Windows Club. Blue screen of death, often referred to as a blue screen or a stop screen error, is a screen that a Windows device displays when it encounters a fatal error from which it cannot recover safely. When such an error occurs, the system halts all its operations to prevent data corruption or further damage to the hardware. Various hardware, software, or driver-related issues can trigger the blue screen of death. Identifying the specific cause often requires analyzing the error message displayed on the screen, examining system logs, and performing diagnostic tests on hardware components. Once the cause is determined, appropriate steps can be taken to troubleshoot the underlying issue and prevent future BSOD errors. Here are the main causes of a blue screen of death and the solutions to fix them. Let's get started. 1. Hardware issues. A. Faulty RAM. RAM stores data that needs to be used quickly while a computer runs. If there is a fault in the RAM module, it may corrupt this data, leading to system instability or crashes, including BSODs. Faulty RAM can also produce random bit flips or may not respond properly to memory allocation requests. You can get these types of BSOD error codes due to faulty RAM. Memory management 0x00000001A page _fault _in _non-paged _area 0x00000050 IRQL _not _less _or _equal 0x00000000A. To check for faulty RAM, you can use this guide to run the Windows built-in memory diagnostic tool or use third-party tools such as Memtest 86+. Once identified, you need to replace the faulty RAM to fix the BSOD issue. If you want the error code, you may have to force Windows to display stop error details. You can follow this guide for that. B. Failing or corrupted hard drive or SSD. HDDs and SSDs can develop bad sectors over time due to dust intrusion, physical damage, or wear and tear. Attempts to read or write data to bad sectors can cause the system to freeze or become unresponsive. If critical system files are located in these areas, the system may crash, leading to a BSOD. Additionally, if critical system files stored on the HDD or SSD become corrupted, the operating system may fail to boot properly, leading to a BSOD. These are some BSOD error codes that can be caused by issues related to a hard drive. NTFS _file _system 0x00000024. Inaccessible _boot _device 0x00000007B. To troubleshoot such issues, ensure that all cables connecting the hard drive to the motherboard and power supply are securely attached. You can follow this guide to use the Windows built-in Check Disk tool to scan and repair disk errors and a disk diagnostic tool to identify any bad sectors. We recommend replacing the hard drive if a bad sector is found. C. Faulty power supply. Fluctuations in voltage levels, such as sudden spikes or drops caused by a faulty power supply, can corrupt critical system data or malfunction hardware components, indirectly contributing to BSOD errors such as driver _power _state _failure. Also, a failing power supply may need to provide more power to peripheral devices such as graphics cards or hard drives. This can lead to instability in these devices, resulting in BSODs or system crashes. Ensure the power supply is adequately cooled and not obstructed by dust or debris. Check for loose connections or damaged cables between the power supply and other system components. Replace the power supply with a known working unit if you suspect that a faulty power supply is causing BSOD errors. D. Overheating processor. Modern processors come with a built-in thermal protection mechanism known as thermal throttling. For details, you can check this guide. However, it may not work if the processor consistently operates at high temperatures due to heavy workload or inadequate cooling. This can cause the processor's operation instability, leading to delays or failures in interrupt handling, memory corruption, and data loss. As a result, critical system processes or drivers fail to execute properly, exacerbating existing hardware or software issues. This can trigger or worsen various types of BSOD errors like these: kernel_data_in-page_error, system_service_exception. To prevent the processor from overheating, ensure adequate cooling and ventilation in the computer case. Use third-party software to monitor and manage CPU temperatures and adjust overclocking settings to maintain optimal operating temperatures. E. Faulty motherboard components. Faulty or degraded motherboard components, such as broken capacitors or corroded PCB traces, might corrupt the data during its transmission or storage. If the corrupted data includes critical system files, BSOD errors may occur. Additionally, if the BIOS or the UEFI firmware stored on the motherboard gets corrupted or misconfigured, it may fail to initialize hardware components during system boot up, leading to BSOD errors. For example, issues with the motherboard's memory controller or chipset can contribute to memory corruption and trigger the PFN_list_corrupt 0x0000004E BSOD error. To troubleshoot such errors, ensure that your motherboard's BIOS or UEFI firmware is up to date and the motherboard and its components are adequately cooled. Physically, inspect the motherboard for any signs of damage and perform diagnostic tests on hardware components to identify any faults, bad sectors, or corruption. If any faults are found, consider replacing the affected components or the entire motherboard if required. 2. Software issues. Incompatible or poorly coded third-party software may interfere with critical system processes or other software components, resulting in BSOD errors. Also, corrupted system files, faulty device drivers, and updates to the Windows operating system may sometimes introduce bugs or compatibility issues, leading to error codes 0x000000EF, 0x00000009F, and other BSOD errors. Always keep your system and device drivers up to date. If the BSOD started occurring after a recent change, such as software installations, driver updates, or hardware upgrades, consider rolling back the change. Run System File Checker to scan and repair corrupted system files. Here is how you can do so. Open the Start menu and type CMD to search for command prompt. Right-click on command prompt and select Run as Administrator. In the command prompt window, type this command or copy and paste it from the description below and press Enter. SFC/scan now. Wait for the scan to complete. It will automatically fix any corrupt or missing system files. You can also follow this guide to run an SFC scan. 3. Driver issues. Incompatible device drivers cannot work with a specific hardware configuration or operating system version. As a result, they may conflict with system components, causing instability or crashes. Faulty drivers may attempt to overwrite critical system data structures in the Windows kernel or access invalid memory addresses, further leading to a BSOD. Here are some BSODs caused by driver issues. Critical_structure_corruption. Page_fault_in_non-paged_area. driver underscore power underscore state underscore failure. When a faulty or incompatible device driver causes a BSOD, Windows generates a crash dump file that contains information about the error. Analyzing this dump file can help identify the driver that caused the crash. Once you have identified the problematic driver, you may try updating or rolling back the driver to the previous version. If the BSOD continues to show up, try uninstalling the faulty driver. You can follow this guide to determine which driver is causing BSOD errors. Malware or virus infections. Malicious software can corrupt system files, interfere with drivers, compromise system stability, and cause various issues, including BSOD errors. Never download and install software from untrusted sources or click on suspicious links or email attachments. Regularly scan your system for malware infections. For added security against malware attacks, enable built-in security features such as Windows Defender or Firewall. 5. Other factors. Factors such as overclocking hardware components beyond their rated specifications and physical damage to components such as the motherboard, CPU, or RAM can cause BSOD errors. To troubleshoot BSODs caused by overclocking, revert overclocked settings to default in BIOS. For hardware damage, replace or repair the affected component. So that's it. Subscribe to the Windows Club for all your tech solutions related to Windows.